Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Mental Rover podcast. My name is T-Rex, and with me today I have the man, the myth, the legend that is not even by his microphone right now because he's playing with the computer, Pipes.
Hey everybody.
How are you today, buddy?
Old and tired.
Well, that's every day.
It is at my age.
Is it?
It is.
Oh my God. So we have a very special guest today. Gentleman I just recently met at a local coffee shop here in the Columbus area. And
so wait a minute, you're out at coffee shops picking up men, is that what I'm getting out of this?
You are an asshole.
Well, that's why you brought me on board.
All right. Anyhow, so we got Jason with us tonight. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Happy to be here with you guys.
You're happy to be here. See, the funny thing is I was sitting there, I actually met up with he and the other person he works with. I don't know, do you think he would care if we talked about him on the air?
I
Like
talk
if we
about
used
it all
his
the
name?
time, so we should be all right.
So we can say his name?
Yeah.
You want to say it so that you get in trouble?
Tim Hoffman.
There you go, Tim Hoffman.
The Coffee Mess.
Yeah, so the Coffee Mess in Hilliard, he has 3 locations that he works there.
Yeah, he distributes coffee to 4 different shops.
How
Yeah.
many are his, though, that it directly him? Is it just the Coffee Mess at the little
He's
donut
partnered
factory?
in 3 of them.
Partnered in 3. Okay. So anyhow, go around the Hilliard area and you'll be able to actually meet Tim and probably meet Jason as well.
And I grew up in Hilliard, so whereabouts in Hilliard is the shop?
The Coffee Mess is inside the little donut factory, which is on Civots Roaster.
Okay, so I'm
You know where that? You know where
Salvador
Nasty's? It's Nasty's, right? The bar
Yeah, the
there.
sports
Nasty's
No, I
sports
drive
bar.
down in Hilliard now. I don't recognize shit.
Well, this isn't in downtown like the main drag there. It's
I know where
Salvador.
Salvador is.
But there's Nasty Sports Bar. That's a really good little pub. They got great food, man.
Oh, right.
Really good food.
It's a weird little intersection where Civots Roaster and Leap Road and Dublin Road all come together.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's got a Sunoco station in it and stuff like that. Really cool little shop though, man. They had those donuts looked amazing. I didn't get to try them though.
Yeah, Jordan's had the shop for, I believe this is the 11th year that he's
Wow.
had the shop.
So I can go in there and get my caffeine fix and my sugar fix at the same time?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you won't be able to be called Morning Bun.
Oh, stop.
They might call you that, I don't know.
Well, see, okay, so you haven't listened to the show before. He goes to Starbucks down here. The evil company. We don't like Starbucks. We like the Coffee Mess. Anyhow, so he goes down there, and the one girl called him Morning Bun, and she made the mistake of calling him Morning Bun whenever I went in with him. So now I make fun of him for being called Morning Bun.
Okay.
There's a longer story to it than that.
Well, I'm giving the abridged because
they brought out a new pastry and it was called the Morning Bun, and I saw that and I go, and the barista's name is Sandra, really nice woman, and so she's behind a counter and she goes, "Would you like anything else?" And I'm looking at it. I think I'd like a morning bun. And we both looked at each other and both started laughing. And now the other joke is, she says, "Do you want your morning bun warmed up?" And I say, "No, Sandra, I like my buns cold."
that's not really funny.
It's hilarious.
You're stupid.
Cold buns, think about it.
Yeah, I got it, buddy. Thanks. You're so stupid. But yeah, so this is actually a very special episode to begin with because this is the first time we actually have our GoPro recording us right now. So if you go over to the YouTube, Roving T-Rex YouTube website or whatever the hell it's called, you'll actually get to see the video of us recording this and see the horror on Jason's face having to deal with our stupid asses. Oh man, so let's get into this. So how did you get into roasting coffee and working with coffee and things of that nature? Like what was your start?
So I moved back to Columbus, Hilliard area, 5 years ago.
Okay.
From Cincinnati, and lived around the corner from the donut shop.
Oh, okay.
So I was working in Pittsburgh and Detroit at the time.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from,
It
man.
was
No.
Cranberry Township.
Grew up in Cranberry
No,
Township.
Robinson Township.
Yeah, but
Right,
I know
So,
both
yeah.
those places. Okay.
So we were anyway. So I was traveling back and forth a lot.
Sure.
7 a.m., 8 a.m. meetings in Pittsburgh. So leaving at but 30 to go there.
Yeah. For that 3.5 lovely hour drive back.
Yeah. So I'd stop and grab coffee, drive, next time I'd grab coffee. So I started talking to Jordan and Tim, both at the shop, just small talk, just, hey, what are you doing? How's things going? Whatever. One morning I'm leaving for Pittsburgh and I hear this, hey, shouldn't you be on the road already? And I turn around and here's Jordan walking his dogs. And I said, oh, hey man, how's it going? You live in this neighborhood? Yeah. He lived 2 doors down from me.
Oh, no
Never
crap.
knew it. Yeah. So started talking with him, and just over our friendship of about 3 years, I just saw what they were doing inside the community.
Sure.
And just how they treated people and the culture they created, and just how people loved what they were doing and they loved what they were doing. And I was like, man, I just wish I could find a way to be a part of this somehow.
Okay.
And as we get later into my story, it'll make sense a little more. But as I was talking with them, they said, you know what? We want you to be a part of what we're doing. We don't know what that looks like, but somehow we're gonna bring you into our fold. So I left corporate America. I went to work for them. Started working nights. We tried opening the donut shop at night. Didn't really work out well, but it served a purpose.
Yeah, donuts is a morning thing.
Yeah, I mean, we would get the late night kids after gymnastics class,
Oh, yeah.
come in for a treat, things like
Right.
that. Guys working third shift, things, But the main purpose of me being there in the nighttime was I was able to roast coffee for Tim, because the shop wasn't being used to make donuts. So I could use the hood for the exhaust for the roaster and things like that.
Gotcha.
So that's really how I started roasting coffee. Prior to that, I had no experience making coffee, roasting coffee.
So did you even have a fascination in roasting it, or it just sort of happened?
It just happened. I didn't really have a plan. I didn't really ever have a desire to learn more about it. I liked drinking coffee. That was about
Who doesn't?
the extent of it. I didn't.
Well, that's damn good coffee.
Yeah, I didn't know the difference between Speedway coffee and Starbucks coffee. It was just coffee to me. So
Yeah.
it's been really cool to just learn and grow with them, and just gain the knowledge of different roasts and different beans and different origins, and just the things that Tim's been able to share with me and trust me with. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Now, are the beans, when you get them, are they green and then they roast and become black, or are they black and then you still roast them? I'm not
we
quite-
buy all our beans green. So
okay.
yep, and then through the roasting process, it goes from a T-Rex is over and got to see some of it. It
Yeah.
goes from a very light tannish brown color all the way to a black color.
Yeah.
It's the
depending on
coolest
roast.
thing too. They use what's called, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a fluid air roaster. Is
Right.
that correct?
Fluid bed, yep.
Fluid bed.
Yep.
So what it is it's this, how big, his is 8 pound, right?
8 pound.
Yeah, so it's an
8
8
pound
pound.
Civots.
Civots 8 pound. It's the coolest little machine you'll ever see in your life, but basically he dumps the beans that you pre-measure into this roasting machine, and then turns on the air that builds a air pocket underneath the beans and has a spout that constantly keeps them moving, so it looks like a little volcano almost.
Oh.
And what's cool about it is he has a temperature setter that he puts the optimal temperature that he wants the bean to reach before he quenches them. And you just sit there and stand over top of this while it's moving, and you see them go from that green to the tannish, if you will, starting to get a little brown. All of a sudden they start getting blacker, and then as soon as it kicks off, he quenches them and dumps them out.
Oh, okay.
But it's really neat because I guess, correct me if I'm wrong again, but if you don't have the air on, it will actually burn the whole batch, and then you're hosed, right?
Right. So the heating element's in the bottom of that machine. So it's it's a big popcorn popper. Is what it's kind of like.
Yeah.
There's a big heating element in the bottom, and so the where that screen is, that gets very hot. So if you've got the heating element on and you lose that air, it's what we call a drop. That roast dropped, and it just sits on that screen. Well, it's already up to 300 and some odd degrees,
Oh.
so it doesn't take long for those beans to burn.
Right.
So the key is keeping, like you said, the little volcano, just to keep an eye on it, make sure that airflow keeps happening, that blower stays on, and
Now,
everything keeps circulating.
does the color of the bean determine the strength of the coffee? So like a light brown would be
Strong coffee is a term that I've learned is really hard.
non-existent.
Yeah, because people say it, and I know what they mean by strong coffee because I know what my definition of strong coffee
Sure,
is.
sure.
it's Speedway coffee that's been sitting on the roaster or
That kicks your ass when
warmer
you
for
drink it,
3
yeah.
or 4 hours.
So maybe people determine
So-
or think that because the coffee's bitter, it's strong.
Right. So it's really just kind of how you define strong.
Mm-hmm.
So the color is the roast. So
Right.
the shorter or the lower the temperature is going to be a lighter roast.
Right.
The higher the temperature is going to be a darker roast.
Right.
A darker roast will hit you kind of in the back of the throat, in the back of the palate, and a
Right.
lighter roast will kind of hit you on the front of the tongue, and then a medium roast hits you kind of in the middle. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And the neat thing that I did learn this Sunday when I was watching them roast is that, and I showed you my little handheld. I have a Nuvo ceramic one that I bought that's from Korea that I've been roasting my own beans in. And what I learned that's really cool is they go through what's called a crack. So right around the 390 to 400 is when I started to really hear it going. It hits what's called first crack. And that's about what, medium roast or light medium?
Yeah,
or?
to a medium roast is usually around first crack. You'll start, depends on how fast you stop it after the first crack. You have to crack. So the lighter roast will be like just after first crack. A medium roast is just a little past first crack. And then a second crack is when you're starting to get into your darker roast. But that's actually the beans starting to swell and it's cracking that.
So it's an actual cracking.
Yeah.
of the
Oh,
bean.
dude, it's the coolest thing you'll ever hear.
Does it have a sound with it too?
Yeah, it
Right?
sounds like, it almost sounds like a baseball bat, that crack when it hits the,
Oh, wow.
would you say that
Yeah,
it's
it's kinda
kind of
just
close or it's,
I say it's kind of like
Or-
walking on styrofoam peanuts, kind of that.
okay, yeah. Or even like the crackle of a fire when you
Yeah,
get
like-
those embers going and
Yeah.
then you got
Oh,
that,
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like. Dude, it's awesome. Actually, if he'll let me, Tim will let me, I might actually try to take my GoPro in there and film one as it's roasting and throw it up on YouTube so you guys can actually see what it looks like, because it is the neatest thing you'll ever see.
It's a really cool process. It's again, before I met those guys, I had no idea what that involved, zero. And to find out what it actually takes to take a green bean to put it in your coffee cup has been, I mean, a total learning experience that I had no idea what it
Now,
looked like.
in time, how long does it take to roast?
So the Civots that we're using takes about 10 minutes to roast,
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty quick.
and that'll do about 6 pounds.
Okay.
So yeah, and we're doing maybe 22 roasts a weekend.
Yeah,
to
we did
supply
like,
everybody.
I want to say 19 or 20 on
Yeah.
Sunday, and I know you guys had to go back to finish up
Right,
or
yeah,
something.
this was a pretty big week, so we had to break it into 2 days. Didn't
Now,
have to.
do
but
you guys
we
do
wanted to.
decaf as well?
We do.
Oh.
We have a Mayan decaf that we do.
Mine?
So,
Uh-huh.
here's a question about that. What makes a decaf bean? Like, is there some special process? Do you know what they do?
That is a Tim question. I don't really
Okay.
understand it. I've heard it explained, but I really don't understand it. As far as my little pea brain can't process. How do you get the caffeine out? Because it's not roasted any longer. It's roasted to a darker roast, but and that's what I tell people about the roast profile is, people, well, which one's got the most caffeine? You're always talking, it's a matter of milligrams,
Right.
but the lighter the roast, the more caffeine.
Yeah.
The darker the roast, the less caffeine. Again, in
You know what
milligrams.
You know what you want to do? Tell them it's the roast that makes you the most profit.
That's right. That's right. Whichever one's most expensive, that has the most
That's the
caffeine.
one you want.
Yeah.
That's the one that's going
But
to keep you up all week.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I tell them it's like cooking vegetables. If you cook broccoli for just a little bit of time, and then you cook broccoli for a really long time, at the end you have less nutrients. So you've cooked, you've more or less steamed all the nutrients out.
Right.
So that's kind of the same thought process that I use as
Yeah.
far as light roast versus dark roast. The longer it roasts, it goes through a second crack. It's releasing more stuff, so it has a little bit less caffeine.
Yeah, because I actually learned the science of that in my research, because before I do anything or try to start down, I try to research it. The caffeine actually connects itself to the moisture in the bean, and as that bean lets go of the moisture as it expands, it's taking the caffeine with it, leading to what he just said, being the fact that it's actually less caffeine. But the reason espresso and all those might be a little stronger is because you're putting more of the ground in there versus a lighter roast, causing it to give you
Sure.
the caffeine buzz, if you
Gotcha.
will.
Gotcha.
That's at least my understanding, and Tim may come on or listen to this, and next time I see him, tell me I'm a complete, utter asshole. But, you know, whatever. It's cool. I'm learning, man. Don't be
when
evil.
The beans are roasted, do they get a little oily?
The darker roast will. Yeah, they've got like a super oily.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's again just from, like he just said, from everything
I just
being
had an
released out
idea
of it.
here. You're,
Oh, God, this is going to be scary.
no, this is a good idea.
Oh, shit.
No, really.
That's the way it always goes, man. He says he's got a good idea.
It's
And then
a
it
hold my
all-
beer moment. Hold my beer.
Yeah.
You're in a donut shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got chocolate in the donut shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make those little coffee bean,
The chocolate covered
coffee
ones?
beans. Bag those up and sell those as a.
Could do that. I don't know. I don't know what type of chocolate they use. If it's like a
Dark chocolate.
a candied chocolate, you know
They
what I mean,
probably
that
do
sets
something
up
else
in
really
like a
good, yeah.
shell type thing or not.
You probably have to get some like real dark baker's chocolate or something.
like
that
that, yeah.
And I don't know that it would be the same as the sauces they
But
use.
they could probably tell you how to do it because they're good about icing shit, you know.
Along those
Icing
same
shit.
lines,
Jesus.
we do a thing at the coffee mess and the library shop
Okay.
called a donut mocha.
Ooh.
So what we do, a mocha is, you know, milk, espresso, chocolate.
Sure, yeah.
So instead of the regular chocolate sauce that most people use, including ourselves, to make our regular mochas,
Right.
we use the chocolate donut icing. So it's more of like a milk chocolate
Wow.
mocha.
Oh my
Pretty
god.
solid. We do that in hot chocolate too for the kids.
Is
so-
that listed on the
or
board?
adults? Yeah.
I didn't know if maybe that was a secret item you're letting out of the bag here.
Yeah. No, it's
I see a
but
road trip in our future.
Dude, I will take you to this coffee shop. I'm not kidding, man. I had both the drip coffees. I had the Moon, which is his medium roast,
Yeah.
and the dark roast, which
smolder.
yeah, both phenomenal. Now the Moon, lights out.
That's Tim's baby.
Oh,
That's,
God.
That's one that that was one of his first ones that he blended together, and it's a really smooth roast.
What did he say it was? It's I forget what the two beans. He told me what they were, but it's amazing. I've never tasted a coffee quite like it, and it's got such a nice flavor to it
Really?
that I don't even think Starbucks could touch.
Oh.
That's what I've really learned about doing this with them is how, I don't know, I describe it as clean, how clean and smooth coffee can actually taste.
Yeah.
You know, this is, I never liked cold coffee. As soon as my coffee got cold, I had to throw it in the microwave, warm it up, you know, whatever.
You didn't
I'm to
grow
the
up
point.
out east then.
No.
Because iced coffee is big out east.
I'm to the point now where if my cup sits there all day and it gets cold or gets to room temperature, just to drink their coffee is just as smooth as drinking.
Well, and it also, I've noticed with some of the stuff I've done myself, is as it gets colder, it changes the flavor of it too.
Mhm.
Also, because you get maybe one of the accents that was prevalent when it was hot turns as it gets colder.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
And it's really cool because I'm not going to lie, whenever you get a day fresh, because one day I was just bored and I went to the Mediterranean shop down there on Lane Avenue here in Columbus next to Hound Dogs and bought some green beans. When I first got the roaster in that day, I was like, I have to use this thing, so I went and found some. But I roasted them and then waited for them to cool down, ground them in my burr grinder, and threw them in the Keurig that I gave Jillian for Christmas. Amazing.
Mhm.
It's amazing how when that is so fresh, just how much that flavor is so much better than something that's been sitting for a couple days,
Did
weeks.
you drip the coffee or did you French press it? Or did you...
I put it in the Keurig. So we have one of those
Keurig.
little,
Little-
you can
yeah,
get a
insults.
little,
Yeah.
you get a little pod that you
Right.
stuff it in and then put it into the Keurig and it acts like one of the cups, but it's reusable.
Oh, yeah.
And it works great. But I tell you what, man, I've learned a lot by even the 2 weeks that I've been messing around with coffee, and that's why I was really excited that Jason would sit down with us to talk about it, because I figured everybody else would enjoy hearing about it too.
And even people, you know, as simple as doing it at home, fresh grinding your coffee before you brew it is a big,
World
it's a
of
big
difference.
game changer. I mean,
Yeah.
doesn't mean the beans were roasted yesterday, but if you just wait, buy a whole bean, buy a grinder, grind them before you before you brew it, it changes that whole profile.
Well, you figure when it's already pre-ground, all those oils and stuff that are in the bean kind of lose their luster because they're sitting around. Whereas if the bean's whole, it's holding on to them until you crack it.
Exactly.
So that's really what you're gaining by fresh grinding. And then you can get into the debate, do you want a burr grinder or do you want steel grinder? I prefer the burr just because you can control how coarse it gets. I mean, I'm not by any means an aficionado on this, so my word is bullshit. But I'm just saying it really does make a difference.
It does. It does.
Now, way back in the day, and I'm talking way
With
back.
Jesus?
Well, yeah. Just after we invented the wheel,
Oh, nice.
we invented the refrigerator. No. But people used to keep their cans of ground coffee in the refrigerator. And I'd never know if that really did any good or not.
I've heard different things, and I know that Tim's not a big fan on it.
Yeah.
And I kind of take his word as gold. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
man knows
he's
his
been around.
Right.
Again, I always looked at it as a freshness type thing.
Sure.
And now that I understand what the freshness really looks like, as far as fresh roasted, fresh ground, I don't know that there's a point in putting in the fridge.
So you're telling me now that you don't stop in McDonald's for a cup of coffee?
The good thing about gas station coffee is you can always get it. That's the best thing.
Hey
about it.
man, Travel Centers of America is
Yeah.
always open.
I've drank plenty of TA, coffee, Pilot coffee, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I try to stay away from,
Sure.
try to get local roasted or local business. That's been the big thing too, since knowing these guys, just understanding the importance of local business.
Yeah, that's cool. So, T-Rex tells me that you also do mission work?
I
Is that
do.
right?
I do.
What's that all about?
Yeah, so
Is it through a specific church or specific group or just something you do on your own?
I'm part of a local nonprofit here in Columbus called Emerson's House of Refuge.
Okay. That's
Which
on
was
your T-shirt.
It is on my T-shirt. If you could zoom in on that, maybe. No,
Let's
just,
just-
kidding.
All right, I can do
You
it.
can
man.
edit it. You
We
can
have
edit
a
it.
camera.
Started by my cousin and a doctor. This is the 10th or 11th year, I believe. They started it. They were going to El Salvador on mission trips with the church, and the church decided they were going to shift gears and go. They're doing more stuff in Africa and things like that, so they stopped going. Some of the people from the church had met people there, made friends there, and they still wanted to go. So they approached my cousin and this doctor, possibly they could start their own nonprofit and lead trips there. So they started doing that. I'm now on the board with them. And my cousin and I have been going. He's been going the whole time. I've been going. This will be my 5th year, I believe. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's really cool. It's that kind of leads into the whole Jordan Tim story. I was at that point where I had to decide, do I want to keep working a career or do I want to start pursuing this a little bit? Corporate America doesn't really give you a lot of flexibility to do those things.
Not normally, no.
Where guys like Tim and Jordan have been awesome friends and awesome employers and kind of allowed me to chase that passion.
Oh, great. Now, when you're down in El Salvador, what is it specifically that you do?
So the organization we partner with there is called Civots El Salvador, and their focus is on children, education, and women, as far as building into them, trying to keep the kids in school, trying to give the women job skills as far as they have different programs, bakery class, a cosmetology class, a sewing class. I forget what the other, I'm missing one. They do like some computer stuff. They teach them how to build, resumes and things like that. So,
Oh, okay.
and then they've started carpentry classes, welding classes for the men to try to learn things. There's a boys' home there, and in June when I go, we're going to actually officially open the girls' home, which deals with kids from the streets,
Oh, okay.
bringing them in from the streets and trying to get them clean, trying to put them on the right path, and trying to again get them reintroduced to education or into a job skill of some sort.
Okay, so this is more of a community-based mission than let's say somebody goes down and builds houses or builds churches or schools.
Yep, we've done that. We do construction.
Oh, you do construction?
Yep, we
Oh,
built.
okay.
We always tell people what's the trip going to look like? I don't know. Whatever their needs are, we're going down to serve them. And that may be building a house. It may be teaching a ESL class for kids, for English as a second language class. Maybe just going to a community and having a medical brigade because we're taking a bunch of nurses with us. We'll do something like that. I can't think of any project that we haven't done. We've carried lumber up and down the side of a volcano to build somebody a house. We've dug holes. We've done water purification projects.
Oh, wow.
In some of the communities with a group out of Columbus here. We just went and played with kids while mom and dad were seeing a doctor for the first time in who knows how long.
The doctor that's involved is a medical doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
He's an ear, nose, and throat guy. They actually have 2 doctors on staff there with Daniel's group, CDFA, and
Down in
El Salvador.
Okay.
Yeah. So usually our team will consist, I believe the team that my cousin's leading in July, I believe there's going to be 2 doctors and 3 or 4 nurses that are going. So they probably will do a medical brigade of some sort. Just go into the community. They set up they have a pharmacy set up where people have donated medications for, small things. And then the doctors will set up shop and just kind of do the thing. And then my role being non-medical is I'm just going to go play with these kids. Why mom and dad go
that sounds like the best job of all.
Yeah, we'll go, I went down there the first time with the heart of, I call it the Superman mentality of I'm an American, so we're going to go, we're going to fix this. We're going to make everything better.
Sure.
And when I got down there, I realized how much fixing I needed. It was one of those who helped who type situations.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to do construction. I wanted to do this. And now the last thing I want to do is construction. I want to go on home visits. I want to sit and talk with these people. I want to hear their stories. I want to play with these kids. I want to, build into these kids. And the thing that hit me really hard 2 years ago was the girls in the street. And that's where the girls' home that's opening in next month is really special to me because it was, we had always dealt with boys, and I never thought about the girls being on the streets. And last year I had the opportunity to sit down and interview the 6 first girls that will be coming to the girls' home, and just to hear their stories it was heartbreaking. It was inspiring, but it was heartbreaking.
What kind of situations are you hearing from these kids?
So most of these girls, I will say, are between 18 and 25, we'll say.
So they're not even like young girls. You're dealing with a little bit older.
Yeah. Now there are some younger ones, but they're not at the point to where they want help yet, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So these girls are mothers. All of them are mothers. Some of them 2, 3 kids, 4 kids. Some of them just 1 kid. Most of them are what we would consider single, unwed. Highest education between all of them was probably 5th grade. So that blew my mind because I can't imagine trying to raise a child on a 2nd grade education or a 3rd grade education.
No way.
Wow.
And then to see the conditions we were able to go, it was a really special trip. We were able to go and see like where they were living, if that was on the street itself or in a small room they were renting for, some landlords charge them $75, $80 a month to stay in this one little 8x8 room with 2 beds for 4 kids and mom sleeping on the floor and no stove. And but to sit and talk with every single one of those girls and hear them tell me their dreams and their aspirations. These people have dreams. They know how to do things with chocolate, or they know how to make tortillas, or they know how to make perfumes was a big thing that they knew. And they learned all this from their families. And to hear the way they talked about, if I could just learn how to do that, or if I could just have a place to do that, it was something that seemed so simple to me that to make happen, So I'm really excited for this home to get them. They'll be able to come and stay. They'll be able to bring their kids. There'll be a nanny there with them to care for the children so the girls can focus on their studies and focus on, the God thing is a huge factor for those people there. The organization we partner with is a Christian organization. We are a group of believers in our organization as Emerson's House. We don't push that as far as, you have to be in or you have to be out to go with us. But that is a huge track that they try to keep them on, is getting them back on track with God, getting them a job set or a skill set that they could go out and do something. And the big thing is just getting them where they can do something at home. They can do cosmetology from their house. They can sell chocolate candies from their house, and they can be at home with their kids instead of most of these girls are out cleaning windshields on a street corner in San Salvador for 12, 14 hours a day to make $5. You know, so in the meantime, the kids are sitting on the sidewalk, you know, playing on the sidewalk, playing, you know, on the curb. And San Salvador traffic is a little insane. It makes me nervous standing on the sidewalk, so I can't imagine having a child sitting there.
That'd be pretty scary.
Yeah, really intense.
Yes.
Is there one specific story, one specific event that you were really touched by?
I mean, there's been so many. I guess there's one inspiring story for me. Is one of the boys that came down, that came to the boys' home. I was there for 3 months, 2 years ago, and part of my routine while I was there was I was at the boys' home 3 nights a week for 24-hour shifts. Non-speaking Spanish.
Oh, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, I was the gringo.
You better start learning.
Yeah, these are teenage boys who want to push, you know, and I was there alone with them sometimes, and so it was a huge challenge for me. And there was a boy there that made it really difficult for me, and he was grown, and he had come from that street mentality, and so he wanted to check the new guy, and it was really frustrating because I'm there with the servant's heart to, you know, hey, I want to help these guys. And man, they're just, this guy's just
making it rough.
Yeah, man, you're making it hard to love, you know. So I had a talk with Daniel, the gentleman who runs the organization there, and this boy. And by the end of the meeting, we were all in tears because we were able to break down all those barriers, and he was able to understand that my story wasn't as different as his story. You know, my father was an alcoholic. I came from an abusive home. My father left. So all these things that he thought
You
I
just don't
couldn't
understand.
possibly understand. It was personal for him to know that, hey man, we grew up in different places, but we're not that different.
Right.
So I'm proud to say that now, I believe this is his 4th or 5th year in the program. He has now transitioned out of the house. He's living on his own, and he is actually enrolled in culinary school. He wants to be a chef. So
That's nice.
yeah, so this is a kid that, you know, 7 years ago was homeless, living on the streets, in a society that could care less that he's there. And to see him make those kind of changes in his life is probably he's the one really super cool story that I just always want to tell people.
Right.
So yeah.
That
And
is
who
pretty
knows,
awesome.
7 years from now, he may be the chef in a restaurant with a Michelin star.
Right.
You never know.
You know, he's one of these kids that he's always looking at the next way to help. How can I get these kids off the street? He prepares the food for the street mission.
So he's giving back.
Yeah, right, absolutely. He hasn't forgot where he's come from. He just wants to make sure he never goes back. So, and how he can pull other kids out of that. So
That's
really
awesome.
cool story.
Man. That's the stuff that I love to hear, man.
That's the kind of stuff that has to happen.
And you know, I'm not getting into my story because I get yelled at every time I talk about my Mexican trip. But anyhow, like it just seeing that kind of stuff, it really does touch your heart. So honestly, if you're listening to this and you ever thought, hey, I maybe would like to go, can they reach out to you guys and hook up with you, or?
Absolutely. Emerson's House of Refuge. We got a Facebook page. I've got some stuff going on for some stuff that I'm doing in October, but I'm actually going to be leading a trip in October.
Oh, nice.
It'd be the 19th through the 26th of October. Again, like I say, you don't really have to. I guess the good thing for us not necessarily being associated with the church is we don't have to check all those boxes. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We're established with that. I always tell people that it's not my job to save people. You know, Jesus saves people. So all I have to do is open the door And if you've got the heart and they're just willing to go and serve some people and do some nice stuff for people, then that's where my faith says, hey, get out of my way and let me do the work. So we just look for good people who care about other people, that are mature enough to say, hey, I'm going to a place where God's important to these people, and I'm going to respect that. We will go to church with them. But I tell people it's like going to grandma's house for Christmas. If grandma's Catholic and grandma wants to go to mass, it doesn't matter if you're Catholic or not.
You're
all
going to mass. Yeah.
So you sit there and you be quiet and you do your thing, and you respect it. And so people can absolutely reach out, check us out on Facebook, and you'll find information about trips and things like that.
So you don't have an actual website too? Is everything is on
We're
Facebook?
working on an Emerson House of Refuge website. We just haven't got it completely done yet.
Okay.
So there is something existing there. I do believe if you go there and you click on the contact, it'll let you send an email.
So if they're so compelled, can they actually donate to the cause as well through the Facebook page, or?
We don't have the donate button going up yet.
Okay.
But we do have means on there to where we can work with you, where we've got different accounts set up.
So
we've got a
even if
Venmo account, we've got whatever, to where as far as tax deduction, we can always take care of that.
So, but they can reach out to you if someone listening to this would like to help your cause.
We can get account numbers to you and get stuff set up and everything.
Now, the other thing that we had talked about on Sunday, or maybe it might have been Saturday at the coffee shop, we were talking about how you sponsor 2 girls.
Correct.
So do you want to go into a little bit of that story and how they work a coffee tree farm and that kind of stuff? Tying back into the whole coffee situation
Wait a
too.
minute, are you bringing this full circle now?
Brother,
Look
I
at
told
you.
you. This
You're
man right here
professional.
is a wealth. The fact that he's sitting here is a blessing, because this is great. I don't know about the rest of you guys listening, but this has been one of my favorites so far. Just the
Good.
stories. I love it. So,
I appreciate it.
oh, dude,
Appreciate
man.
the opportunity, sure.
Dude.
So girls in the coffee fields, right?
And there's Pice pushing us along. I'm trying to give you some love here, and he's
Guys,
kicking me in the rear.
Clacking the little box.
Yeah.
So I guess this is
Sure.
my 4th year, I guess, sponsoring this. It's a set of sisters.
Mhm.
And that's one of the big things they do over there, is they do child sponsorship.
Are they through Emerson, or is it through another organization?
So the money here flows through Emerson's, and then that money goes directly to CDINFA, and CDINFA distributes it to the families based on what their need is as far as.
Okay, so you go through Emerson through that other company, and that's how you're
Correct.
sponsoring.
Correct.
So it's through your organization.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because the NGO in El Salvador is not recognized as a 501c3 in the States. If that makes sense.
So you're like the middleman.
Right, correct.
Okay.
So, when I was there, I kept hearing them talk about child sponsorship, and, so I just really felt overwhelmed with it. So I went to Daniel, I said, hey, I think I want to do this. What's it look like? Is there like a book with pictures of kids that I pick somebody out? I'm thinking like Sally Struthers type stuff, where they send you this pamphlet, you got to pick out a kid. And he looked at me and he said, amigo, that's awesome. I'm glad that your heart's been moved to do that, but just let the kid pick you. That's all I'm going to tell you. He was like, I'm not going to make you pick somebody out of my book. Just if you're in one of these communities and you see a child who really kind of hits your heart, ask me about it, and we'll figure out, are they in the program, are they not in the program, are they being sponsored, are they not being sponsored.
Right on.
Okay, so we were in one community, and we were having a barbecue to celebrate the men's soccer team in that community had won the tournament. They were really proud to show us their trophies, and they wanted to celebrate, and we wanted to celebrate them. So we had a cookout for the community barbecue.
Wow.
And I'm playing with these kids. There's probably 60 kids in this community. I'm playing with them, and just these 2 little girls, man, they just hit my heart. So we're over and we're doing the typical Ohio thing. Oh, let's get a picture of everybody doing OHIO. So I talked these little girls into doing the OHIO thing, getting a picture, and so I go to Daniel and I said, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
I said, hey, what about these 2 girls? What's their story? And he just looked at me and smiled, and he said, that's an awesome pick. He said, I'll tell you more later, but that's a great pick. So went back and I heard I met their mother, and I heard their story about how the mom was always volunteering to help set up for the English classes in the community, and like coming and sweeping the classroom early and setting up the food. And she was kind of the leader in the community as far as organizing and pushing the kids into education. And Daniel said they could really use a hand, you know, because she's a single mom and trying to raise 3 girls. I said, okay, well those are the 2 I want to sponsor. So it's been an amazing relationship. Just seeing them grow. They're both so smart, and I know every sponsor, every parent probably feels that way. I'm kind of biased, but
Sure.
they're just super smart, super sweet. I was there. Her mother, their mother, got remarried to a super awesome guy. I got to be there when both of them were baptized.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I got to go to a field day with the youngest one in her school. They now have a new sister, a little sister that the mom and the dad had together, Baylin. And so Cecil, my cousin that has a nonprofit, he was actually there the day she came home from the hospital and was able to FaceTime me so I could see her like the first day she was home.
Oh, that's awesome. Man.
It's just been a really special relationship. And it's really just, again, through the whole growth and discipleship thing for myself, it's really just reinforced that put somebody else in front of me mentality. You know, I tell people, like, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started doing it, it was one of those patting myself on the back, like, hey, you're doing a great thing. It's like, now I can't imagine
You're like, without
not doing it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not, you know, I was there last year for Christmas and got to go to their house on Christmas and have dinner with their family, and I've met their grandma, and you know, it's just you know, it's a family now.
You're truly a part of the family.
It's a, you know, they have Facebook. Their mother has Facebook access that she can get on at a local like computer center there. That every once in a while they'll send me a picture or something on Facebook Messenger or video of them saying hi. When my mother passed away, their mother called me. Kind of like Facebook Messenger video thing, and she had called her whole community church together that morning to pray for me and my sister and my family.
Wow.
You know, so it was just like,
That's
it's deep.
Man.
I mean, it's deep.
It's a huge connection.
Yeah. So you know, and I just hope that if anyone who is sponsoring a child anywhere, not just through our organization, anywhere, I just hope that you have the opportunity and the access to actually meet that child one day and actually connect with them on that level, because it's really super special, and you have no idea how much of an impact you're actually making in their life.
Well, and how great was it that, you know, because at one point I was sponsoring a compassion child through Compassion International. And, you know, it was nice. They send you a letter every now and then, but the fact that you actually had these 2 girls come to you and you got to meet them before you even went down that road with them and had that moment, that's huge, man.
Right. And that's, you know, that's what I tell people about our trips is it is special. It's different. I love what Compassion does. I love what a lot of these other organizations do. I've done mission work in South Africa with a different organization, and it's just amazing the stuff they do. They're all, I'm not going to sit here and throw stones at any of them. I can only speak what our trips are like, and our trips will put you in direct contact with real people in real situations.
And it really will humble you.
And it humbles you. I hope it inspires you somehow. You know, and I hope that it shows you, again, just that idea of we're blessed. We are super blessed here in the States. And just to think about putting someone just a little bit in front of you, just, you know, our child sponsorships are fairly inexpensive. So we were talking about Starbucks. If you would give up 3 Starbucks drinks a month, you could sponsor a child.
Are you talking like $15?
$15 a month is what it is. Yeah. So it makes a huge difference, you know. And I know that $15 is a lot of money to a lot of people. I don't doubt that at all, you know. But
that's Burger King and a coffee drink or something, you know.
Right. You know, but it's, you know, it's something that the relationship that you can't have. And like I tell people, you know, oh, you want to meet your sponsored child? Well, planes leave Columbus every day. Let's go. Yeah. I'll take you to their house and we'll knock on their door together.
When you go down to El Salvador, How long was your trip? Because I think you said at one point you were down there for 3 months.
The longest stretch that I've been there is 3 months.
Typically, how long are you down there?
We do 1 week mission trips,
Okay.
and we always have an option for people. Some of the veterans that have gone like to stay for 2 weeks. So it's a really, I don't know, it's so small. Like I say, it is like family. More or less, if you've been, you can hop on a plane and go, because you already know Daniel. You know what he looks like. He knows what you look like, so you guys can figure it out at the airport. That's just kind of the mentality and the open door that he has. But usually when we take a group, we go for 1 week. The longest stretch, like I say, that I've been there is 3 months.
What's like the living situation when you're down there on these trips? Are you staying? Do they have like on the? Do they? Well, I guess whenever I went on mine, there was a compound that was the children's home, but they also had a side house, if you will, that had like 4 or 5 rooms with about 5 beds in each room. Is it kind of like that?
Very similar. So Emerson's House of Refuge is actually a physical building.
Okay.
And that's the boys' home. Now there's going to be Deborah's house, which will be the girls' home. And then there's the Arlene Smith house, which is like a 3rd building on that property. That's all one facility. And then there's a thing that we call Casa Batel, which is the Bethel house, which is the missionary house.
Okay.
So that's where we house everybody. There's been groups as large as 30
Oh,
stay
wow.
there. So there's really six big rooms there to bunk beds and whatever that we can accommodate people. So we've got some space to store some people. Kitchen, bathroom, no air conditioning, cold showers, but it's home.
Well, with no air conditioning, that cold shower might be a good
It's
thing.
worse.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad thing after you've been out in the sun all day. So it's a really special place. And we're blessed to have a facility like that where we can house people when we go.
That's so awesome, man.
So
That's absolutely amazing.
You brought up the longest stint, so I'm gonna do. I don't know if we talked about this or not.
Well, you and I did, but I'll let you go. Go ahead.
So, in October, I'll be taking a one-way ticket to El Salvador.
Really?
Yeah, something that hit me over Easter. So that will probably be my longest stint. I don't know what that looks like for sure, but just kind of keep me in your thoughts and prayers and stuff for that, because it's still a leap of faith.
How's Tim going to do without you? Have you had that discussion with him yet, or are we
No,
breaking news here?
Hey Tim, if you're listening, I'm leaving. No, they are 100% behind it, and they'll manage just fine. They're putting some stuff into place, and they both, Jordan, Tim, and everybody has just fully supported what I'm doing and the decisions I'm making. They've actually got to meet some of the people that I've been on trips with. Daniel, the gentleman from El Salvador, will be here in October, so we'll get to actually meet those people that are in my life. So yeah, it'll be really cool. So,
I'd love to meet him when
Yeah.
he's here. That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
we're gonna have a kind of an event of some sort. We haven't quite got all the details hammered out yet, but
Yeah, I'd love to meet him. That sounds great. And actually, maybe in 2021, I can't do it in 2020. 2021, I'd like to come down and visit.
I guess we never got to the coffee part of that whole story.
Well,
We didn't.
it's okay though.
Long story short, my sponsor girls live in the middle of a coffee plantation
Oh.
that is owned by an individual. So part of their annual routine is they go and pick coffee for the property owner of this community. And here's the painful part for me was, so for every 100 pounds of coffee beans they pick, which is a lot.
Yeah.
That takes a long time because they don't weigh very much.
Is this pre-shelled from the berry?
Cherries.
So this
off
is the
tree.
cherry
Yeah.
too? Okay.
They get $25.
That's it.
So that's why you see full families out picking coffee,
Right.
because they're trying to get $25. Usually takes them 2 days to pick that much coffee.
Wow.
But full days, 4 or 5 people, kids, adults, whatever, grandma, whoever. So it's beautiful to see. It's a beautiful community. The trees are beautiful, but it's hard for me to, see how much profit and greed is made from some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, so that's why I've always been, Tim's been great as far as trying to do, I know people throw around the free trade coffee, organic, blah, 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 which is just a stamp from whatever country it came from. They decided to put on it.
They put fair trade and all this stuff.
Yeah, and that guy's probably making money for putting the stamp on there. So,
Mm-hmm.
But ethical sourcing has really become important to me, to where I could try to get, try to head that off somehow, try to do something positive. So yeah, it's been cool working with Tim and just learning, the origins of these things and how, people think that some guys think coffee should be cheap. Well, Speedway only okay, that's fine. Well, this guy charges, $8, $20, $30 a pound. And it's like, okay, well, what's he doing with that money? And that's what I love about Tim and those guys, is they're reinvesting in the community.
Mm-hmm.
With what they're doing. So that's what I want to, explore while I'm there, is there a situation we can get into, me personally, to where I can connect Tim or whoever here in the States, to make that better for somebody there, because they're a local farmer or a local community that we can get involved in and say, hey, I'm not trying to disrupt anything. I'm not trying to steal or make, anybody money or do anything crazy. I just want to try to create an environment where we can help these people's lives be a little better. We get a cool product that we can bring to the States and sell and have a special story behind it, and reinvest that money back into CDM for that community somehow.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, even if you get it back to town or something and he makes a roast that he sells in his shop with the story of what it does and what it is, I mean, people can connect to that story.
Right.
And that's going to mean more to those people. So, if you're going to tell me that of this $20 bag of coffee, that 10-15% of it goes back to help the family that may need some help down there, I'm more than likely going to feel okay with buying that for $20.
Right.
And at the same time, know that it's helping someone, rather than buying just the standard bag for $15,
Right.
So.
And there's a lot of cool stuff out there. There's a lot of cool organizations that are doing a lot of cool stuff like that. So, I don't know, if you're a coffee snob like I consider myself now, look into those options.
Let's use aficionado.
What?
That's aficionado. That just sounds so much better than snob.
Right.
Well,
Coffee aficionado.
I mean, we'll let Pipes be a snob because he sucks, but other than that. Now, did you get a chance to actually? Did I mishear you, or did you help them pick beans one day or something?
Yeah. We went out one day, and I've got some pictures that I can share with you if you want to post them up or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, we literally. So the girls I sponsor, and there are two other sisters, one older and the baby, and the mother. The mother just walked us through the community, and she went and found trees for us to pick cherries off of, and she was showing me the different ones, and there's some really cool pictures of the girls with like the baskets on their head and putting the berries in it. Even the little baby one holding on to it, but she's trying to carry it on her head. Just really cool
so
stuff.
Cute.
And like I say, it's a beautiful experience. It's very cool, and just to know that, again, that was just something special that I got to do with them, in their community, and just kind of, I don't know, just be a part of their life. So, because that's something they do twice a year when they harvest. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really good.
Now, did you break down the beans and put them in the sun and all that, or did you just pick them?
We didn't have time to do that. I don't know who's going to watch this podcast, but some of those beans may or may not have ended up back in the States.
What are you talking about?
The cherries,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But we weren't able to process those just because of our lack of knowledge. The sun, huge dirt fields to spread things out. But we did bring some stuff back, and we experimented with it a little bit. Probably not the best thing we ever did, but it was fun. It was still fun nonetheless, just to look at them and hold them in your hand and kind of figure it out. So
well, yeah,
it was cool. Yeah,
I'll
I'll show you. We've got. There may or may not still be some laying around that if they are or not, maybe I could show you sometime.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Yeah, and if you share those pictures, we'll throw them up on the Roving T-Rex Instagram account that is tied for the show.
Perfect.
just so people can see it once this episode actually drops,
Sure.
which should be Sunday.
This Sunday?
Yeah, because is it this Sunday or is it next Sunday? I don't know. I'll figure that out later. When they listen to this, what we're talking about right now means nothing. But yeah, so when we drop that, we'll throw those pictures up there if you're willing to share them, just so people can see some stuff and stuff like that. Man, we packed so much, and we're at 55 minutes right now.
You said about an hour, so we did pretty good.
Well, but I mean, it's like we could probably still go on longer, but I don't want to keep you too long.
You get me fired up about this. We'll need more coffee.
Yeah. Well, next time what we'll do is we'll roast some with Tim and bring it along.
There you go.
And then we'll drink coffee and then not sleep that night.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got a Keurig. We could just stick it in there.
Do you have a grinder?
I do not have a grinder.
Well, then I'll have to bring the burr.
I grind, but that's a whole different thing.
Oh.
Nobody wants to see that. Everybody can see on this camera now what you look like, and they're probably afraid.
Probably very afraid.
Well, they've seen pictures of you on some of the episodes to begin.
Have.
Oh man,
They use it to threaten their kids. If you don't go to sleep, this one will come get you.
In his puzzle basement.
Drink coffee, ride motorcycles, play bagpipes. This is what you look like.
Oh.
That's a valid thing. That's very valid. Oh, and don't forget scotch.
Stay in school.
Wait, I just had a guest slam me.
That was beautiful.
That was.
You know what?
He said I got one.
Yeah.
No, I didn't, but I'm giving you one. That was beautiful. Oh man, this has been a really great episode. Is there any other like little pearls of wisdom or anything else you'd like to leave as we start to wrap up, because we are hitting that hour?
Yeah. Just something that I was having a conversation after we spoke this week,
Mm-hmm.
and after speaking with you and kind of, man, it's been an intense couple weeks. I moved out of my apartment, gave that up so I could move into a different situation where I could save up some money for this deal in October. So it's been a real tough couple of weeks of just reflection.
Yeah.
And one of the conversations that I had with someone this week was about passion and just how much I wish that anybody who's listening to this, or anybody who's not listening to this, I don't know what that makes sense, but would just be able to find their passion and focus on that passion, and whatever it is, just kind of follow it and be brave and follow it. And as I was having this conversation with this guy that I kind of built into and mentor a little bit, he's very passionate about something, and I'm like, man, that's your thing. I believe that's your thing. But what you have to do is you have to take that passion and flip it to make it about somebody else and not yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the blessings start to really flow through that. I believe that. So, like I say, just, I don't know, it's kind of, maybe that can be your word for the week or for the whatever, just to kind of focus on what's my passion? What's your, Daniel, the guy in El Salvador, he always asks me, what's your why? What's your why? And I think once you figure out what your why is and what your passion is, things will become very clear for you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. God knows I don't have a Y at Verizon.
No.
Except a paycheck.
That's a Z.
There, yeah, it might be a double Z. It's I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my job, but there's really no fire behind it. It's basically just earning a paycheck, and that's, like doing the coffee thing, roasting, that sparks something. It's something I've always wanted to learn. It's something I enjoy learning that stuff, and if I could find a way to help people through roasting, that would be amazing.
Right.
I mean, that's really my ambition to try to learn, is maybe I'll be able to help someone with roasting. Maybe while you're down there, you get the beans, and then if Tim lets me stick around, I can help him to do something that in turn helps you down there.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know. I keep trying to find that way, and that's why I love our club, because every year we do a lot of good for the kids in this community. And that's really what it is. That's my why. Why am I in the club? Yeah, I love the guys we're with. I love riding motorcycles, but when it comes down to it, at the end of the year, when those kids we go to the school, or the it's not a school, it's a
Rec center.
rec center where these kids are, and get to see them at the Christmas thing where the parents break off and go get the gifts that we have raised to give to them. And you see their faces and how happy they are when Santa's there, and all of a sudden, oh, it's so great. It just makes all the pain, all the headaches, and everything else that we've dealt with that entire year go away.
Right.
And you realize that was why I worked so hard. Yeah, and it's
You know,
that.
the gift part of it, that's cool. But what really gets me is when we're handing out the dinner. You know, we're spreading out the food and stuff. And they come up with their little plates and they look up at you. You know, here's these big badass bikers. You know, and it's like, oh my God, what? And you dish out the food to them and they say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's one of them that acted like a little snotty urban brat. You know,
Well,
they're all really polite.
right.
Was really thankful.
That could be the only meal they get that day.
Yeah, it could be.
Yep.
You know.
That's the thing is, you know, it's not about thinking, again, that Superman mentality of I'm going to save this, I'm going to do whatever. It's that, how can I stand beside you and help you be
Humble yourself.
and make us better, you know, and that's like you're talking about the feeding. One of the big things they do down there is they do a street feeding program 2 nights a week.
Oh wow.
Literally go downtown San Salvador on a street corner and feed about 120 people. And when you meet people, that a woman that brings her kids on a bus for an hour and a half to come there and eat because that's the only night of the week she knows everybody gets food.
Right.
Talk about humbling. It's like,
Well, and it warm food at that.
yeah. And then, you know, just to know that, okay, so I'm not saving the world. I'm just how can I stand beside this woman and say, hey, can I hold your kid so you can eat your food in peace? Can I get you another drink? Can I get you another plate of food? Can I, you know, what can I do to make this moment better for you? And that's, you know, that's serving the Christmas meals, delivering the presents, hanging out with those kids, just hanging out with them is that's the other cool thing I tell people. I'm like, just hang out with these people. Just sit down, have a conversation like we're doing with these people, hear their stories, and just, you know, be a good human. You know, I don't know. That's the hard thing. It's, you know,
I think that's at the end of the day what you want to do is just be a good human.
Yeah, just
That's
be a
nice way
good
to
human.
say that.
Yeah, just
Don't be a dick.
Why did you say that and look at me?
Gee, I wonder why.
I've got a chapter in Cincinnati, and just this last Sunday, and they do it every year. And they only do it once a year, where your group
Is it
might
once
do
a
it
year?
more. It's once a year they do that.
Oh, okay.
They go into downtown Cincinnati and they feed the homeless. They get a big barbecue going, and they hamburgers, hot dogs, and drinks, and I imagine they probably hit about 100 people.
Yeah, it looked like from the pictures we saw, there was a lot of people that showed up through the community, and what they don't serve there, they cook up and take to a veterans home. Like it's, I don't want to call it a halfway house, but it's kind of a place that takes these guys in that need something to help them, you know, because a lot of our veterans, when they come home, end up homeless.
right.
Oh, it's probably homeless shelter.
And it kind of, but it's that kind of thing. But they take the leftover food to those guys that couldn't get there and feed them too.
Right.
And it's just, you know, when you see, and 2 of our actual brothers got to go down and help with that this year. And, you know, seeing the pictures, it looks like it was an amazing feeling.
There's some awesome stuff that goes on in Cincinnati. I mean, and that's the other thing, I guess, for people is I always tell them, if you go to El Salvador with me on a mission trip, that's awesome.
Well, it appears we just lost power there for a second, but
Oh, that was frightening, wasn't it?
yeah, all of a sudden the lights went black and we lost a bit. And I know we finished talking. We were talking about the the brothers down there. They take the food to the one shelter there that's for veterans and things of that nature, and give them the food to help them out.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we wasted an hour.
We didn't waste an hour.
No, we didn't waste an hour. We had absolutely fun with you, Jason.
Thank you. I appreciate
Absolute
the opportunity.
pleasure.
You know, anytime I have the opportunity to share the story, it's cool, and it's just what you're doing with this is cool. Just like you said, bringing in people just to sit down and have conversations.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the coffee shop. That's what I love about that is that it creates creates that environment where you can just sit down and just talk. You know, in our society, it's going away.
It is.
We're too busy doing this. We're too busy doing this. We're not really
paying attention.
Just
And by saying doing this, for the people not watching this on YouTube,
oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
he's actually playing with his phone.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we just
And
don't
they
take
may
the
have
time.
even got that.
Yeah.
Probably.
They don't have the time to sit and talk and just hear somebody's story. You know?
Right.
But that's awesome.
So it's been cool. I've really enjoyed
This
it.
is a milestone for us.
What was that?
We did it sober.
And we didn't kill each other.
Well, yeah. That's
Well, we normally are sober-ish.
Ish.
We don't drink like crazy. You're making us
that's
sound like a bunch of
ish-ish
lushes.
for me sometimes.
It's because we're on video. We don't want people to see that side of the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. No, but honestly, let's go ahead and we really reached our hour point here, so I guess we need to start wrapping it up. But what do you want to plug, man? Anything you want to plug? The floor is yours. Plug away.
I guess just if you want to see more about what we're doing as a group, you know, Emerson's House of Refuge, Facebook, CDFL Salvador, Facebook. I have a Patreon page for my fundraising efforts for my trip to El Salvador.
Okay.
It's JasonInElSalvador, JasonIn El Salvador. YouTube channel, same name.
And I actually do have
Instagram, same
I have
thing.
your business card, so I'll
Yeah.
make sure to put all these links that he's saying for you guys in the show notes. So
Perfect.
check your show notes and also the YouTube notes for the video. I'll make sure everything's in there for you too.
Awesome, thank you. Coffee Mess Hilliard, Little
Yeah.
Donut Factory Hilliard.
Definitely check them out.
Those guys have been such a huge part of just building into me. You know, I love them like brothers and family. So they've helped make a lot of what I do possible.
Right on.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
they
Jason,
seem like great guys.
If we don't see you again, safe trip to El Salvador.
I appreciate
Well, I
it.
hope to see him again because
you
he
will.
roasts coffee, and I want to learn.
All right.
So
I plan
I'll
on
say hello.
coming and seeing some bagpipes
Oh, there you
somewhere,
go.
somehow.
Hey, Dublin Irish Festival.
What is that?
That's the.
First weekend in August.
I'll
You gonna be
I'll still
around?
be here.
All right, so we'll get you a ticket or something. You can come
That'd be cool.
hang out with
Enjoy.
us there because I'll be working with them this year, actually.
Okay, nice.
Bring coffee.
I'll bring coffee.
Oh, listen to you. What a jerk.
What?
It's always about getting something for you, isn't it?
You
Absolutely.
bring me a
Nah.
kilt. You bring me a kilt. I'll bring you
Oh, there.
coffee.
No, that's not a fair trade, man.
Just for the day. I don't.
You got anything to say, please?
I got nothing. I'm done.
Oh, God.
Take us out.
This is why I question making you my... I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to do
I'm
it with
crushed.
anyone else.
I'm
Oh,
not
shut
super
up.
crushed.
You are not crushed. All right, guys. Hey, seriously, check out the Coffee Mess, the little donut shop. Check out Emerson House of
Refuge.
Also, check out all of Jason's Instagram, Patreon, all that stuff that I will have in the notes. Let's help him out any way we can. And also, hey, thanks for listening. We can't do this without you. You guys are the reason we do this. So
All three of you, thank you.
What a jerk. All right. But anyhow, thanks for listening. You can reach out to the show via our Facebook, which is the Mental Rover Podcast. You can reach out to us via Roving T-Rex on Instagram. You can reach out to us Twitter at the Mental Rover, and also the Mental Rover Podcast at gmail.com. And hey, just for fun, why don't we have a question of the week? What is your favorite coffee? Let us know by sending us an email or reaching out to us one of those ways and tell us exactly how you like your coffee. Who knows? Maybe if you reach out to us, I'll get a pound of coffee off of the Coffee Mess and actually send it out to you in the style that you like.
Oh, I'm signing up.
You're part of the show.
Oh.
So there it is. We're going to have our first giveaway. If you reach out within a month of this show dropping and I see that you did it, and the names, I'll put them into a randomizer and I'll send you a free batch of coffee that fits the profile that you like. So make it sure to reach out to the Mental Rover at Mental Rover Podcast at gmail.com and let us know. We're going to do this.
Sounds like
Sounds
It's happening. and then you'll get to see the fruits of his labor as he blends, and I stare at him while he does it, because that's what happens.
That sounds kinky.
Oh, God. He always takes it there, man. Yeah, seriously. Who invited this guy? All right, guys.
You
Again,
did.
I know. Again, thanks so much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, whatever it is. And don't forget, Rove on. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.